Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Liz, and in this tutorial we're going to make this beautiful tank top. I recently made a skirt to match the top, so if you would like to make the skirt, I'll leave a link to the skirt in the description box below, so be sure to check it out and let's get right to it. I'll start with a slip knot and chain 15. So this 15 is the length of my waistband. I want my waistband to be 15. Let me just confirm the length. So 15 inches when slightly stretched is 4 inches. So I want my waistband to be 4 inches. So if you want your waistband a bit longer or shorter, then you know if you want it longer, you're going to increase the number of stitches. If you want it shorter, you're going to decrease the number. So to begin row 1, chain 1 and go back into the 15th stitch with a single crochet. Then work a single crochet into each of the stitches till you get to the end. And at the end of row 1, you should have a total of 15 single crochets. So we'll be working the waistband with single crochets, but in the back loops only. So remember, we're only working the back loops. I'm done with the first row. To begin row 2, chain 1 and turn. So normally this is a loop that we would go into, but instead we're going in the back loop. For you to work the waistband, then you need your bust measurements, and you're going to take your bust measurements minus 10 inches, and we'll be measuring this when it's not stretched out. So if your bust is 30 inches, then you're going to take 30 minus 10 and you'll get 20. If your bust is 40 inches, you're going to take 40 minus 10 to get 30. So this band that we're making right here should have a length of your bust minus 10. I'm working a bust of 32, and therefore my waistband should be 22 inches. So the reason why we are subtracting is because when we work in the back loops only, the waistband is very stretchy. It's going to stretch out a lot, and therefore the reason we are subtracting the 10 inches. So I'm working the back loops in the second row, and I'm done with the second row. So I'll chain 1 and turn to begin row 3. Go into the back loop of the first stitch with a single crochet, a single crochet into the back loop of the next, then a single crochet into the back loops of each of the stitches. Sorry about the shadow. My ring light stopped working when I just started recording this, and therefore I had to use the flash on my phone because I usually record with my phone. So I'm so sorry about the shadows. So I'm done with row 3, and therefore I'm going to chain 1 and begin row 4 into the back loop of that first stitch. Put a single crochet, a single crochet into the next back loop, and into each stitch to the end of row 4. So this is pretty much what you're going to be doing until you're done with the waistband. So let me work my waistband, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you the number of rows that I'll have done in order to get my desired waistband. So these are 84 rows, and after measuring this, measure this without stretching. So after measuring this without stretching, it's taking me to about 17.5. Let me just pull this. So this is what I have without stretching. I had mentioned that you should take your bust measurement minus 10 inches. Instead, I've taken the bust measurement minus 15 because I've realized that when I'm taking it minus 10 inches, it's going to be a bit wider. So if you had made your waistband a bit longer, you can just pull out some of the rows so that you have the bust measurement minus 15. Then we are going to join these two ends together. I'm just going to chain one and turn. Then I'll be joining the back loop of this end, this back loop right here. I'll join it to the front loop of the other side. Then the next back loop with the loop on the other side. And I'll just go on joining the corresponding loops on both sides. And I'm joining with single crochets. Sorry, I'd forgotten to mention that. So single crochets are what I'm using to join the two ends together. So just continue joining like this to the end. I'm done joining the two ends, and this will be the wrong side of the top. So I'm going to turn it to the right side like this. So there is the waistband ready. Then you're going to chain one, and you're going to work a single crochet onto that first stitch. Into the next stitch, which is this one right here, we're going to work a double crochet. So we're going to be alternating between a single crochet and a double crochet. The next stitch is this one right here. We put a single crochet. This is the next stitch, which gets a double crochet. Then a single crochet on top right here. Then a double crochet right here. This is where the single crochet goes. Then double crochet, single crochet. So each of the rows is going to get a stitch, and we're going to be alternating. So if, like in my case, I had 84 rows, and I'm going to have a total of 84 stitches when I get to this end. But then I'll be alternating between a single crochet and a double crochet. So I've just done the double crochet. So single crochet, then double. So keep going, and I'll meet you at the end of row 1 to show you how to finish the row and begin row 2. The last stitch gets a double crochet, and that's the end of the first row. To complete the first row, we slip stitch on top of the first single crochet that we started with. So slip stitch, chain one, and turn. So that first stitch has a single crochet, and therefore we're going to chain 2 more, and that will act as our first double crochet. So the stitch that had the single crochet is going to get a double crochet. The one that had a double crochet is going to get a single crochet. The next stitch had a double crochet, so we're going to single crochet, then double crochet, single crochet, then double crochet, single, and then double. So you're just going to alternate like this till you get to the end. At the end of row 2, the last stitch should be a single crochet, since we began with a double crochet. At the end of row 2, you should have a single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch on top of the third chain of that chain 3 that we made. So slip stitch, chain 1, and turn. So we are on the double crochet stitch. So into that double crochet stitch, we're going to put a single crochet, then a double crochet into the next, a single crochet, then double crochet, and then single crochet, and we alternate to the end. So this is basically the pattern that we're going to be following, and we're going to do this for a total of 8 rows. So I'll go on make my 8 rows, and then I'll come back and show you how what I'll be having after the 8 rows. So at this point I'm in row 3, so I'll do 3 up to 8. At the end of row 3, since I've begun with a single crochet, I should end with a double crochet right here. I'm done with my 8 rows, and the number of rows you're going to do will depend on the length that you want for your top. So this is the length from the waist up to that part below your bust. So determine the length that you want, and then work the number of rows that are going to give you that length. So I wanted to have 5 inches below the bust, and I have my 5 inches right here. So what I've done is I've divided the stitches into 2 and marked with a stitch marker right here. So as you can see, this is a point where I ended the 8th row, and I've marked the middle stitch. Then I'm going to count the stitches and mark the middle stitch right here. I have my 2 points marked, and I'm going to be working one side with 1 cap. I'll work an increase to this end, and then once I'm done with this side, I'll come back and work the other side. So I'll just go back to this stitch that I ended with, and that last stitch was a double crochet. I've already chained 1 and turned, so I'm going to begin with a single crochet, and then followed by a double crochet, and then I'm going to alternate till I get to the stitch marker right here. I'm done with one side of the tank top, and therefore I'm going to attach the yarn at this part in the middle, and then I'll work towards the other stitch marker. So get the yarn and make a slip knot. So I'll attach at this last stitch of the previous side, but then because this was a double crochet, I'm going to combine these 2 stitches, this stitch and the next stitch, to a single crochet. So I'll attach with a slip stitch at that point, but then I'll not work a stitch on that point. I'll move to the next stitch and put a single crochet, then followed by a double crochet, then a single crochet, a double crochet, and we're going to alternate between a double crochet and a single crochet till we get to where the stitch marker is. I'm a stitch away from the stitch marker, and so I'm going to pull out the stitch marker and put a double crochet into that stitch. Then chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to work a row up to this middle part. So begin with a single crochet, followed by a double crochet, single crochet, and double crochet, and work till you get to the middle part of the top. at the middle part, and the last stitch should be a double crochet. Chain 1 and turn. We've just worked 2 rows after the division at the center right here, and we're going to be working 2 rows of decrease, 1 row of decrease. So we've already worked 2 rows with no decrease, so we're going to work a decrease row. And to decrease in this row, we're going to skip this first stitch, skip the second stitch, and into the third stitch put a single crochet, then alternate with the double crochet until you have 3 stitches remaining, and I'll meet you at the end to show you how to reduce at the end of this row. I have 3 stitches remaining, so into that last stitch I'll put a double crochet right there. Then I'll skip the second last, and into the third stitch work a slip stitch. Then chain 1 and turn. We're going to work 2 rows with no decrease now, and we're going to begin here. So into this stitch right here, put a single crochet, then a double crochet, and alternate to the end. So the last stitch goes onto this point right here. So do not put this double crochet into this stitch, skip this and work at this point. So that point right there gets the last double crochet of that row. So that is 1 row of non-decrease, chain 1 and turn, and work the second row without decreasing. So start with a single crochet and alternate to the end. I'll meet you at the end as we begin the next row so that we reduce again. I'm at the end of that row, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn. That was the second row of non-decrease, so we're going to work a decrease row. So skip the first stitch, skip the second, work a single crochet into the third. Then start alternating between a double crochet and a single crochet till you have 3 stitches remaining. The 3 stitches are remaining right here, so I'll put a double crochet into that last stitch, then slip stitch into the last stitch. That is the next decrease row. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to work 2 rows with no decrease. So we're not going to work into this stitch, we move to this stitch on top right here and put a single crochet, then a double crochet, and alternate to the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row, chain 1 and turn, and work another row with no decrease. So you're just going to alternate between 1 row of decrease, 2 rows of non-decrease until you have 6 stitches remaining. So you can have 6 stitches remaining or even 4, depending on how thick you want your strap to be. So this strap that I worked, I remained with 6 stitches. If you want it thicker, you can work until you have 8 remaining. If you want it thinner, you can work until you have 4 remaining or even 2. So it's all up to you. In my case, I'll reduce until I have 6 stitches remaining. So this is the first non-decrease row, chain 1, and work the next non-decrease, then the decrease, and keep going. I've reduced and I have the 6 stitches remaining right here, and therefore I'm going to start working the strap using the 6 stitches that are remaining. Now I've already marked this point so that I can be able to know how many stitches, how many rows I worked from this point to this point. So from here to the stitch marker, I did 10 rows. So I'm first going to do 10 rows, and then after the 10 rows, I'll do another number of rows at the back. And to know the number of rows that I'll do at the back, I'll count the stitches from the point of separation of the caps to the stitch marker. So the number of rows from this point to this stitch marker should be the same as the number of rows for the strap at the back. So let me just first begin with working the 10 rows to this point. So just begin by chaining 1 and turning, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single and double. Then chain 1 and turn to begin the second row of the strap, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double, that's the second row of the strap, and you're going to continue doing this till you have 10. So I'm in the third row, I've chained 1 and turned, so single crochet and alternate. So keep going till you have your 10 rows, and I'll meet you once you're done with the 10 rows, and then we're going to work the strap at the back. So we're going to count the number of rows for the front part, and then we'll work the same number of rows. I've done the 10 rows up to this point, and therefore I'm going to count the number of stitches from this point, the number of rows, sorry. I'll count the number of rows from this point. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, that's 10 rows, and then 11. 11 plus the 10, that is 21 rows. So from this point, I should work 21 rows to get the strap at the back. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Then start with a single crochet, a double crochet, a single crochet, a double, single and double. So that is the first row from this point, and I'm going to mark the last row of that front part of the strap so that I am able to keep count of my rows. So that's the first row, and I'm going to work 20 more for a total of 21 rows. If your rows from this point to the stitch marker are more than 21, let's say 25, then you'll need to work 25 at the back. If they are less than 21, then you'll need to work that number that you've gotten. I have the strap ready, and so I'm going to get this project, and then I'm going to chain 1, get the pair of scissors and cut a long tail so that you leave a tail that's going to join the strap on the other side, then pull through and fasten. So we're going to attach the strap onto the other side of the top, so we'll turn it like this. So around this point, that's where you want to attach. And so we're going to count 8 stitches from this side. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this last stitch is supposed to go to that 8th stitch right here. And then, because we have 6 stitches, we're going to add 6 more stitches. We're going to count 6 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you're going to put the yarn through the needle and begin attaching the corresponding stitches. You're going to attach them together. So I'm in the last stitch and I'll join there. Once you're done joining the strap, you're going to go to the wrong side of the top and hide the remaining tail. I'll first put a knot just to secure. I'm securing the yarn in place with a knot. And then I'll hide the tail inside the stitches. Once you're satisfied that the tail is well hidden, pull out the needle, get the pair of scissors and cut off the yarn. And we are done. We are done with the tank top right here. As you can see, it's turned out awesome. If you enjoyed making it, kindly give this video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a tutorial, which happens every Wednesday of every week. Then stick around and watch out for the next tutorial. Thank you so much. Have a good day.